let's get addicted, whatever that means. I don't know to what. Be responsible. Um, that's all I'm gonna say about that. I don't even know what I mean right now. I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I guess let's just figure it out, just like I do the other videos. And I'm always gonna say that every video because literally every single time I patch, I just patch. I don't know how to explain it, but I mean, you can. I mean, that sounds very arbitrary, but it's just like literally sometimes just like boop, 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 and then just accept what happened, and then work in that framework. It doesn't always work, but at least how my mind works, it's easier and actually it helps me backtrack further to better understand individual concepts if I can see how it's constructed. So then I can actually sit back and say, like, oh, that complex pattern, okay. I remember doing that. I get the logic of it. It's more like a subconscious input. It's very much like machine learning for my own internal tape machine, which is definitely what my brain is at this point. So enough talking about me. So what we're going to do is, I guess what I want to try today is just staircase into this shape changer and like prismatic ray into that, or something into the staircase into here, and then a prismatic ray beam filtered or something into the shape changer too, and just have that be the out. And really, I'm just trying to neglect, definitely the wrong word again, but avoid using these because they're definitely not neglected. They've been used a lot. I'm surprised. I mean, at this point, actually, let's just do this. That nothing's happened, but I'm rambling. So let's just start. We're gonna take prismatic ray. Actually, I don't want to take prismatic ray. I want to take video divisions plus prismatic ray into staircase. Now take the divide by 4, go into the vertical, and next we're gonna take the prismatic ray over here, long cable, to this filter. This filter is then going to go into the horizontal. We'll do the middle waveform. So next, let's just go out from horizontal vertical to like red and blue and see what happens. So horizontal to red, and then blue is vertical. Okay, kind of something. Oh, please don't do that to me right now, camera. I'd really, really appreciate that. Let's just do that and see. So shape changer right here, nothing too much I'm really getting out of this. Let's see. Okay, that's kind of interesting. What happens when I mess with the staircase? Okay, that's pretty cool. That's a cool pattern. So we're just getting our bearings right now. Okay, so where's that? Oh, filter. Let's see. Yeah, sometimes with the filter, you have to have it in the right settings to really get it noticeable. Yeah, you can see how there's like a subtle change right there. But it could just be the filter choice. Let's just do OLN. So usually that's the most drastic of them. So let's see what the dealio is here. So maybe I just have to play with some Yep, that's all it was. It's just some parameters on here. And I mean, we're just doing the horizontal, vertical out. What if we just did the stencil instead of the vertical? I kind of like that. So instead of the vertical out, we're going to do stencil to blue and horizontal to red. So we're going to take this vertical now and use that as a modulation point. Interesting. Okay, that's pretty cool to work with. Ooh, that is really cool, actually. Oh, that camera's killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. Sorry about the lighting. I really have to figure that out. It's difficult because I want proper lighting, but I may just have to drill into my ceiling, but my ceiling is slanted, and it's just a thing to do. So right now, I actually really like this pattern, and why I like that is because since you're using the divisions as a way, so what we can see here, you can really see its impact right there. And I mean, let's just do number 1 or number 8, which would just be half of the screen. So what I mean is like literally in half by power 2. Then 4s, 8s, 16s, and so on. I like the 16s. That's pretty sweet. From here, I mean, we're not really even modulating the staircase yet, or the shape changer. Let's just go back to like what we had or kind of a second ago, which is that. See what the shape changer can. Whoa, there's some cool color depth coming out of that. So that's something to modulate. So now that we see the gamma is controlling that to a degree. See, there's just I mean, the shape changer alone, it should just be a mandatory in systems, in my view. I mean, even some of the design, I bet, could be broken out into smaller, slimmer ideas, especially the stencil and the gradient. Like, those are killer to me. I think they're beautiful. There's so many things you can do with them. Let's just even take the gradient out from here and pedestal modulate this, or frequency. Let's see what happens if we can even get anything. It's not always the case, but yeah, look how intense and drastic that is. Let's do vertical. It could just be that it's really intense, and or see, ooh, that's really cool. Something I've noticed with the shape changer, there's sometimes when you kind of get in between different frequencies, it will, I mean, you're just like overriding it essentially, or the digital chip, as far, and it does stuff like that, which can actually be very useful as well. It's just like anything, you just gotta find. And two, I found that this is even with the filter, I would assume that this is coming from. Sometimes with the filter, if there's a drastic change, it takes a second to like reset. Like there's a wobble, yeah, like that. You see that? So I'm literally just sweeping it all the way as fast as I can, so swept. And then there's a delay. It's kind of cool though, but it's something you just have to be cognizant of, again, in a performance setting. Um, so the gradient didn't really work out there. Let's maybe just put the gradient to green. That's pretty cool. From there, I'm always into, the darker shades and trying to get the minimal thing, but let's stay away from that right now and see what I can do. Frequency modulation. Let's change the frequency modulation point and put it to the pedestal. Oh, camera, you're killing me. That. Sorry, that's the type of stuff that just frustrates me. I'm trying not to be. I'm trying to be candid and calm, just for you. And so to neglect my annoyance, because that's the right word right at this point, we're gonna just go from this prismatic ray to the other one and just modulate that one. See if we can get anything, or maybe the pedestal. Well, I think horizontal is the thing to do with this one. Okay, there we go. With the pedestal, there's a lot. Okay, what I really like is that. Those really. Alright, so you have the divisions making that split. This is why I really like divisions, is because it makes these splits, right? Then, since they're a defined area in the frequency modulation, it's like you can move them and it crunches it, it'll expand it or crunch it. But once you have that layer and you have the different, I guess you get segments of that, you know, what I mean is when you, let me just back up really quick and I'll show you really quick and I'll put this back because this is a really cool point. Oh, I need a longer cable. So let's just say you had, let me take out this modulation point, you put this prismatic ray just straight up into green. Bam, that's really cool. Let's make it vertical. Next, let's say long blue one coming in, going from divisions into the frequency modulation. Alright, let's do this one. This is a little better. Yeah. This is what I mean. You can offset it. And why that is good, and I think a very important design feature, is that once it's divided like that, and you can modulate in such a way to blur the lines. So now you're going to start getting things that are more watery and washy instead of, stack, stack, it's going to actually kind of conform and bend together. So let's just rip these back out and put back the patch, and you'll see what I mean. So this was to blue, I'm pretty sure the horizontal to blue. This gradient was to green, and no, that's not right. Then we had the stencil there. I know that's not, maybe it was the switch right here. I don't think it's definitely not the exact same, but it's in the wheelhouse, I think. Oh, I know what the other point is this modulation point, and then we're back in some facet. Man, as you can see, it just changes a lot. But let's see if I can get back there really quick. I know I'm not too far away. Of course, thank you screen, thank you camera. No, let's go back to this. That was the color. Okay, now we're back in some facet. You know. So divisions in this case is creating that, right? And if we're using that also as a modulation point, which we can, or maybe a different one, let's say let's do one that was in the blue and use that as a modulation point for this prismatic ray. Okay, so now you see what I mean is that you have these 4 different sections, which is being defined by this part of the divisions, or this one, you see, and then on the inside of that is the other set of divisions. And this is how you can pretty much make flags this way. There's a lot of different things you could do actually. I like the idea of flags. I haven't really thought of that. Well, I've thought of flags, not recreating them in a video synth. I know what a flag is, guys. People, humans, whatever, whoever, entities. I'm a big believer in Total Recall because we're all on vacation to Mars. Are you? I know I am. So to recap, I think I'm going to stop there because I think it's a really cool idea and pretty foundational into cableage. And you can see, I'll just modulate it before I recap, just so you can see, oh, let's say if we wanted to modulate the staircase and what that would do. Okay, now you get some cool stuff. I mean, I like the horizontal things, but it depends. But when you start, you change the gain of the CV a little bit, and you start to get things like this, and you can see where those lines are pretty defined, but it also, we're only in, we really haven't manipulated the color scope that much, and if we are going through the mapper, we'd have a lot more control of the subtlety of it. But and then let's say if instead of that we wanted to modulate the phase, I mean it's akin to it. So yeah, I mean, I think this is really cool. Actually, I'm gonna try one other thing. It's gonna take staircase out into like the shape changer. What? What? What the heck is that? It's like some type of weird birthday cake that is melted into a black hole. I'm gonna take that out for a second and see. Actually, I'm just gonna put that back and leave that as the end part of the patch and be done with it. Divided by 1, right? Okay, there we go. I like the flag thing. I can't get back to it right now, and I'm just leaving this as it is because I really like the whole little wispy thing up top and the segmentation, the simple thin lines, like the 2 thin lines, the blocks, then the 2 sections, but the thin in the middle. That's really cool. All right, so to recap, what we're doing here is this. We're going from one prismatic ray into the staircase with also a divisions going in the staircase. We're going divided by 4 out into the V of the shape changer, and then we're also going divide by 1 out into the size VC of the shape changer. Okay, next one, we're going prismatic ray all the way into this filter right here, number 3, and we're just going from the out of that into horizontal of the shape changer. Okay. From there, we're just taking the stencils go into blue, then the gradient is going to green, and then red is the horizontal out of the shape changer. The vertical is actually being used to modulate this prismatic ray, okay? And we're using another part of the divisions where it's only in half versus in sections of 8. Or no, this is the 4 sections. Pretty sure. I can't remember. Is modulating the pedestal. So this division is modulating the pedestal of this prismatic ray. Lastly, we're actually taking that same prismatic ray and then modulating this one right here. And then from there, yeah, this is what you get. Some type of really bold, really segmented, clustered design. And this is where you can start to get a lot of complexity and originality with non-repeating forms. Doing this, especially with stacking divisions. And divisions, you know, you could do this with another prismatic ray in horizontal mode or something like that, but you probably have to use some ramps and do. I mean, there's multiple ways you can do this, but I think that's one way I think is great. Get it divisions if you can, please. You'll see what I mean. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed that space cake, and I know I did. So have a good one.